Dear devotees, tonight I'll be continuing with the description of the Maharaas Leela as told in Srimad Bhagwat Mahapuran. On the night of Sharad Purnima, Shri Krishna decided it was the time to grace all the deserving souls with the bliss of Maharaas. So he played on his flute, and the sound of the flute traveled all over the Brahmand, and only those souls who were qualified to take part in Maharaas could hear the sound of the flute. So Maya, Yashoda, and Nanda Baba, they didn't hear the flute. None of the Gops and Gwalbals heard the flute. Only the Gopis heard the flute. The Gopis are saints, which means they're beyond Maya, they're beyond the cycle of birth and death, and they've attained God. But there are different classes of saints. They are Madhurya Bhao saints, and not just Madhurya Bhao saints, meaning they love Shri Krishna as their beloved, but Samartha, rati, Madhurya Bhao. There are three classes of Madhurya Bhao. The lowest class is a selfish love of Shri Krishna. It's called, there are three, Samartha, Samanjasa, and Sadharani. So this Sadharani, rati, Madhurya Bhao, it's when somebody loves Shri Krishna, but they're not thinking at all of pleasing him or serving him for his happiness. They're just thinking that I want to be happy and Shri Krishna is divine. So instead of desiring to see, touch, taste, smell, and hear the objects of the world and try to get happiness through that, I'll try to get that happiness from Shri Krishna. Although this doesn't qualify one for the status of the Gopis or for the bliss of Maharaas, it's still a great thing. Someone would think, oh, it's a selfish love, it can't be of much value. No, no, no. Listen to what Vedavyasji says. Krishna bhakta sakamopi varunya sevakat khalu nishkamadapi tatkamo yato mokshaya kalpate. A selfish devotee of Shri Krishna, which means someone who desires to meet Shri Krishna and have his personal association for one's own happiness. When I see you, I'll get happy. When I receive the touch of your hand, I'll receive unlimited bliss. That's called selfish devotion, sakam bhakti. Notice I'm not saying one who prays to God and asks for a new car or a good husband or a good... That's not sakam bhakti. That's just sakamata. There's no bhakti in that. Or you can say it's bhakti of the world. It's not bhakti of God. Sakam bhakti means desiring God for one's own happiness. This is called Sadharani rati Madhurya Bhao. An example is Kubja. So this type of selfish love is so great that it destroys the bondage of Maya and it gives divine bliss. Even if someone could be a nishkam bhakt of any devta like Indra, Vayu, Agni, Nagra devta, they're all under Maya themselves. So even if you love them with pure selfless love, the most you can attain is their abode, Swarg. So it's better to be a sakam bhakt of Shri Krishna than a nishkam bhakt of anyone or anything under Maya. Above Sadharani rati Madhurya Bhao is Samanjasa rati Madhurya Bhao. And the example of this are the queens of Dwarika, like Rukmini, who is the avatar of Mahalakshmi, Satyabhama, Yamunaji, all these queens of Shri Krishna had love for him. Like half and half, you could say. They had 50% regard for Shri Krishna's happiness. What could I do to please him? But 50% regard for their own happiness as well. So it was a balance of the two. But Samartha rati Madhurya Bhao, which is only represented by the way the gopis loved Shri Krishna, is pure selfless devotion. Inside they had one goal in mind, to put a smile on Shri Krishna's face. That was it. They had no thought for their own happiness. Or you could say their happiness was in his happiness. Tat sukha sukhitvam. Narad ji, in his Narad Bhakti Darshan, gives a philosophy that the gopis loved Shri Krishna for his happiness and they were happy in his happiness. So it's unnatural for a soul not to desire to be happy. The gopis also desired to be happy, but their happiness was in Shri Krishna's happiness. They also desired for his darshan, to receive the touch of his hand, to receive his loving glance. They desired all of these things, but in their heart, first and foremost, was Shri Krishna's happiness. It's hard to explain because there's not even really an example of it in this world. The closest thing you can come to that type of love in this world is the love that a mother has for her child. The child, when the baby is just born, doesn't give anything in return to the mother, doesn't even recognize his own mother, let alone love his mother, doesn't even know what is a mother. And the mother gives her everything for that child. But even in this, kuch swarth chupa hua hai, there's some self-interest in the mother's heart, certainly. She has hopes from the child that this child may serve me when it grows up, or will love me, will honor me and respect me, will somehow make me happy. That desire is definitely there in the mother's heart. So it's not pure selfless love, but it's the closest thing we have to Nishkam Prem in this world. True Nishkam Prem is only possible with Shri Krishna. So the gopis had pure Nishkam Prem for Shri Krishna. This is called Samartha rati Madhurya Bhao. So only the Samartha rati Madhurya Bhao gopis heard the sound of Shri Krishna's flute. As I mentioned, there were three classes of gopis. There were eternal gopis who had either eternally been in Vrindavan, or at some time, maybe they were souls like us, but they did devotion to Shri Krishna with Madhurya Bhao, with selfless love, and they attained the status of gopis, and after leaving this world, they went to divine Vrindavan. So there were many, many of such gopis who came with Radha Krishna on the earth. Then there were two other types. There were other types of saints who had desired to get this bliss of Radha Krishna love and the bliss of Maharaas. So even though they had attained God in some other form, they were blessed to come as gopis to take part in this Leela. And then the third class were the Richas of the Vedas, who came in personal form as gopis. So the Richas and the other saints, they got to take part in Maharaas with the grace of those original gopis. Those original gopis graced them, thus they became qualified for Maharaas. So they all heard the sound of the flute and they all came running to Shri Krishna, and Shri Krishna started by what you would say stating a Purva Paksh in a See, often the way knowledge is presented in our scriptures, there's some kind of discussion. Take the Gita, for example. In chapter 1, Arjun established the Purva Paksh, his idea of what dharm was. And he explained to Sri Krishna, according to that, I don't want to fight the war. But then he asked for Sri Krishna's opinion. So Sri Krishna gave the Uttar Paksh, the correct answer. Many times, the Purva Paksh is not a completely correct representation of the philosophy. The Uttar Paksh comes and makes the correction. Another example is Jagadguru, Adi Jagadguru Shankaracharya. When he came and explained his Advaitvad, it was an incomplete description of the Vedic philosophy. It was right from only a very narrow perspective. If examined from other perspectives, it appeared to be incorrect. So it was a type of Purva Paksh, which was then answered by Jagadguru Nimbarkacharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and eventually Jagadguru Shree Kripaluji Maharaj. So they all gave the Uttar Paksh. In other words, they clarified what Jagadguru Shankaracharya had set forth in a limited way. They expanded upon it and clarified what is the true philosophy of our Vedas. Something like this, Shri Krishna put forth a Purva Paksh when the Gopis came to do Maharaas, when he told them that you should not be ignoring your dharm. You've come here and met me in the middle of the night. This is against dharm. Go back to your families. So the Gopis told him, you are the ultimate goal of dharm. You have said in Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraj. Hum aur kya kar rahi hain? Sarva dharman parityajya. Leave all the dharmas and come to me. That's exactly what Gopis did, and Krishna is telling them, go home now. He says at another place in the Bhagwatam, Dharman santyajya yah sarvan mam bhajet sacha sattamah. The topmost devotee is the one who leaves all the dharmas and comes to me, worships me only. So the Gopis had a bit of shastrarth with Shri Krishna in this way, and they actually defeated his argument, which was the only reason he made the argument in the first place. He put forth the Purva Paksh, knowing that the Gopis would give the Uttar Paksh, and the world would learn more about dharm as a result, and also see the greatness of the Gopis. Leaving dharm doesn't mean that we have to, like the Gopis, run out of the house, right? As I mentioned last night, the Gopis did Maharaas for a whole, actually, this part I haven't told yet, it lasted for a whole night of Brahma. The moon stopped in the sky because it was mesmerized by the bliss of Maharaas. And time stood still. Everybody kept sleeping. Everybody other than the Gopis and Shri Krishna kept sleeping for a whole night of Brahma. More than 4 billion years. That's how long Maharaas went on for. And during that time, Sri Kripaluji Maharaj explains that Shri Krishna took the form of each of the Gopis' husbands and was lying in bed next to them. So if the husband woke up in the night and rolled over and went like this, he would feel, yes, my wife is there. This was Yogamaya. Shri Krishna can do all of that without any type of effort. The Gopis didn't physically leave anything. Yes, they considered their love for Shri Krishna to be above and beyond everything. And on the night of Maharaas, certainly they ran to Shri Krishna. But throughout the whole Bhagwatam, or throughout any of these Leelas that we hear from that time, we know that the Gopis lived their family life and they performed their duties to their family as was required. Shri Krishna is the soul of every soul. So he's the beloved of every soul. He's the husband of every soul. So we're supposed to love him first and foremost, above and beyond everyone and everything. To leave Shri Krishna and give importance to worldly attachments is the opposite of dharm. Dharm is of two kinds. One is physical, one is spiritual. To observe physical dharm, we have to do our duty physically, properly, carefully. To observe spiritual dharma, we have to love Shri Krishna. Lokesmin. In this world, there's one topmost duty for all the souls. Tivrena bhakti yogena mano mayarpitam sthiram. Shri Krishna says in the Bhagwatam, the one duty of every soul, the topmost duty of every soul, nishreyaso dayaha, that which is going to give them the ultimate attainment, is to immediately, tivrena, abhi, mano mayarpitam sthiram, establish your mind in me through bhakti. Attach your mind to Shri Krishna with love. This is the ultimate duty of every soul. So the Gopis were clarifying this aspect of dharma, that the topmost dharma for every soul is to love God. Dharma is that which leads you to your own well-being. And the ultimate well-being of a soul is to meet Shri Krishna. That's it. That's the ultimate goal of every soul. And the only way to meet Shri Krishna is to love him. So there's no situation or circumstance where a person should leave their love and attachment for Shri Krishna for any reason. The Gopis showed this, that is supreme. Love for God is the supreme dharma, and all other dharmas are secondary. So leaving all the attachments, love Shri Krishna. This is what the Gopis taught us. So after this was made clear, Shri Krishna agreed to do Maharaas. So after spending some time with Gopis, lavishing his attention on the Gopis, and building up the excitement. Imagine when Shri Krishna is looking at you, smiling at you, you're getting to be around him. They were there on the beautiful sandy bank of Yamuna in the moonlight. After elevating the excitement of everyone to be there with Shri Krishna vanished. And that only elevated the state of bliss of the Gopis even further. Now in a state of viraha, in a state of intense longing to meet Shri Krishna, the Gopis attained a state of total unity with Shri Krishna. And in a type of unconscious state, without planning, not See, they started acting out Shri Krishna's Leelas. Not like we do, how we write a script and we practice and then we act it out. Okay, you be Shri Krishna, you be this Gopi, you be Mother Yashoda. They did it spontaneously. One Gopi started acting like Shri Krishna, one Gopi started acting like Mother Yashoda. She's tying up Krishna and Krishna's crying. Or one Gopi is Putana and one Gopi is Shri Krishna. Or one Gopi is Balram and one Gopi is Shri Krishna and all the others are Gops. They enacted all these Leelas, different demons that got killed by Shri Krishna. When he lifted Govardhan hill, one Gopi lifted her chunari like this, like Govardhan is on top of her and she's lifting Govardhan hill. So in a type of state where they weren't aware even of their own bodies, they were acting out all these Leelas of Shri Krishna. And they went deep into the jungle in search of him, and they found his footprints and they followed them. And as they followed them deeper and deeper into the jungle, they realized there was a second set of footprints there. And they knew, Anayaradhito nunam Bhagavan Haririshvara. These footprints, the second set of footprints, belong to the Gopi who has worshipped Shri Krishna the most. जिसने उनकी सबसे ज़्यादा आराधना की है, वो उस गोपी को ले गई. Shri Krishna took that gopi with him. That's what Radha's name means. Aradhana actually is the same as Radha's name. It means the one who worships Shri Krishna. So although Radha's name, it's not explicitly stated that Shri Krishna took Radha, but it's understood by all the saints who have done Vyakhya of the Bhagwatam that that is indicating Radharani. Although in the Bhagwatam, Shri Krishna's playmates are mentioned by name, Sudama, Shridama, Mansukh, Dhansukh, all his playmates, Nanda Baba's friends as well, the older Gops. Many of them are described by name in the Bhagwatam, but not a single Gopi is described by name in the entire Bhagwatam. Not Lalita, not Vishakha, not Chitra, not Tungavidya, not Sudevi, not Rangadevi, not Indulekha, and not Radha. One of Radha's names in our Vedas is Gopi. So anywhere the word Gopi comes, it could be for an ordinary Gopi, it could be one of the Mahasakhis, it could be for Radha. So here, Anayo Radhito Nunam, that Aradhita word, it's for Radha. Shri Krishna took Radharani. So the Gopis followed and they thought, oh, she's so lucky. Leaving all of us, Shri Krishna has taken her. Then at one place they saw where Shriji's footprints, Shriji means Radha, they disappeared and Shri Krishna's footprints became much deeper into the sand. So then they understood that here, Krishna's beloved must have said, I'm feeling tired. And Shri Krishna picked her up and walked, carrying her. So they kept following. And as they followed and followed and followed, finally they got to the place where they found Radharani sitting there. So they came and asked her, what happened? Where's Priyatam? Where's our beloved Krishna? And Radha explained that, oh yes, we had gone and then I got tired, so he carried me, and at one point he put me down And actually, Gopis had also seen that. They saw a place where Radha had sat, and by the footprints, they could tell that Shri Krishna was on his tippy toes, and he was reaching and picking flowers. And he was putting those flowers in Radha's braid, and made a mala and offered that to her. So Radha described all of that to them as well. And then she told them that at one point I also felt pride. Kripaluji Maharaj explains that Radha was thinking in her own sweet way that, okay, the gopis have had enough, you've tested them enough. You left them, you gave them such viraha. It's time to go back to the gopis. But Krishna wasn't going back. So Radha said, okay. So she acted in a prideful way also. She said, I'm not going any further. If you want me to go, you can carry me on your shoulders. So Shri Krishna got down, saying, okay, climb on my shoulders. And as soon as she started to climb, he disappeared. So Radha said, now I'm here alone. That's how the gopis found her, sitting there alone. And she cried out for Shri Krishna. Ha nath ramana preshtha kvasi kvasi mahabhuja dasyaste kripanaya me sakhe darshaya sannidhim. In this shlok, Radharani is addressing Shri Krishna with all the four bhav, showing that all four bhav are included in Madhurya Bhao. So she's calling him, O Swami, I'm your dasi. Dasyaste kripanayame. Thinking of me as your dasi. That's dasya bhav. Oh my sakhe, oh my friend. Oh my son. Oh my beloved, presht. All those bhav, sab samaj aate hain Madhurya Bhao mein. She's crying out to Shri Krishna and she's showing the gopis this is how you find Shri Krishna, not by chasing him into the jungle. Call out for him. So they pursued a little bit further, but at one point the jungle became so thick that even the moonlight was not penetrating through the trees, so it became very dark. And at this point the gopis decided to go back. So they returned to the bank of Yamuna river, to Ramanareti. It's a place in Vrindavan, on that beautiful sandy area next to Yamunaji. And here they sang what is known as Gopi Geet. I told you that the 5 chapters of this Maharaas description, they are the Panch Pran of the 10th canto, which is the heart of the Bhagwatam. But within those 5 chapters, this 4th chapter, the Gopi Geet chapter, it's actually the 3rd chapter. This is considered to be, even amongst those 5, the essence is here in Gopi Geet. Because in Gopi Geet, everything is there, what a soul has to do. Gopis stopped chasing Shri Krishna into the jungle. They went to the bank of Yamuna and they called out to him. Oh my Lord, oh my beloved, please, looking to your own merciful nature, please come to us. We surrender our everything to you. We have left everything and come to you. Please come to us. Gopis said, those tender feet of yours, we don't even like to think during the day that you're going out and grazing the cows. With those unprotected, tender feet of yours, you're walking, there could be thorns, there could be sticks, rocks, pebbles, pieces of grass that can go into your feet. We feel very disturbed in our mind during the day when we think of you out grazing the cows like that. So those lotus feet are always, we keep them in our heart. Gopis were thinking of Shri Krishna in this way. It's a long song. They're praising Shri Krishna, and it's expressing their feelings of humbleness and surrender. It's the total form of devotion right there. Shri Krishna says in the Bhagwatam, Katham vinaro maharsham dravata va cetasa vina vinananda shrukalaya shuddhed bhaktya vinashaya. If when you're thinking of me, you don't feel a thrill in your body that makes your hairs stand on end, if your heart doesn't melt, if tears don't come from your eyes when you think of me, then you're not doing bhakti, and your heart is not going to be purified by that. You have to cry for me, he says. So here, gopis are literally crying. Phoot phoot ke ro rahi hain. They're crying uncontrollably, begging Shri Krishna to come to them. And in the end, they got Shri Krishna with this last vakya. They say, you know, when you're going and grazing the cows, for us, every second is like a whole yug of time. That's how long it feels to us in reality when we're separated from you and we're waiting for you to return at the end of the day. And when we do get that couple minutes of darshan as you're returning with the cows and you're looking so beautiful with all the dust collected in your curly locks of hair and you're playing on your flute and we watch you pass by, that brief darshan is interrupted by these eyelids because the eyes can't stay unblinking forever. So at that time when we're having your darshan and we see and then our eyelids come in the way for a fraction of a second, that time when our eyelid has robbed us of your darshan, even that time feels like a whole yug for us. And we curse Brahma and think, what was wrong with his mind that he made these eyelids? Unki kya murkhata hai? That's what Gopis said. So they're not exaggerating. This is not hyperbole. They actually feel that blink of an eye without seeing Shri Krishna. Their love for him is so powerful that that much time without him is like hundreds of thousands of years. Now, oh my beloved, you're out wandering in the jungles. We can't even bear the thought of you wandering in the daylight, thinking what might stick into your feet as you wander and graze the cows. And now it's dark night and you're out there wandering. We're not going to follow you anymore, because if we follow, you're just going to go further. Those feet of yours are so tender and so precious to us that when we've met you after a long time and we have an intense burning of viraha in our heart, and we know the only way to calm that burning is to put the sole of your feet on our chest, even then we do so very carefully. Yat te sujat charanam buruham staneshu bhita shanai priyadadhi mahikarkasheshu. They're saying that we feel in comparison to your lotus feet, our chest is very hard. So we very carefully press your feet. See, they're thinking of Shri Krishna's happiness. Imagine if you had been separated from your 5-year-old son for 4 days. You went shopping here on Hillside, and somehow your son escaped from your sight. You don't know where he went. You filed a police report. No one can find him. 4 days pass without your son. You'd be going out of your mind, right? This is in a situation of limited love. You have a limited love for your child. You get a limited amount of happiness when you're with them. Therefore, you feel a limited amount of desperation to find them if you're separated. It's not unlimited. It feels like a lot to us, but it's limited. Gopis have unlimited love for Shri Krishna. They get unlimited bliss in his association, and they get unlimited pain of viraha in his separation. So now imagine how they want to, how much is the desperation to press his charan to themselves. If you find your son after 4 days, will you think anything? No, you'll grab him up and squeeze him, and your son might squirm like, "Mom, you're squeezing me too hard." But you won't even be aware. You'll be so lost in your own happiness of finding your son. That's our state in a limited amount of love. And gopis have unlimited love and unlimited viraha and unlimited desire. And yet, controlling that, they think of Shri Krishna's happiness first. That they wouldn't even give him this much discomfort even for billions of units of happiness. They wouldn't even give Shri Krishna that much discomfort. That's why Naradji says, Yatha Braja Gopika Nam. There's no comparison of the love of gopis, not in the material world, not in the divine world. That's why all the saints desire the foot dust of the gopis. So with this final vakya, and crying from the depths of their soul, gopis won Shri Krishna's heart, and he appeared in their midst. So when he appeared, gopis again got his association. Imagine, after that much intense desire to be with Shri Krishna, now he appeared in front of them. And the gopis were beside themselves with joy. So this brings us up to the end of the 3rd chapter of the Ras Panchadhyay. And in the 4th chapter, we'll get to hear now how does Shri Krishna interact with the gopis once he came back. And actually the gopis have a question for him about why he left them. They want to know, what's the explanation? So how do they ask that question, and what does Shri Krishna answer? We'll hear about that tomorrow. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki.